We have here two Sunburst Les Paul Gibsons, although one, the color is very faded out to where it doesn't even look sunburst anymore. The one that is faded is a 59, the one that's a bright cherry red is a 1960. These are very highly collectible instruments. The Sunburst Les Paul standards with patent applied for humbuckers were made from mid-1958 through 1960 and are considered to be some of the most sought after and expensive electric guitars ever made by any maker in the history of the instrument. With 59 being the most sought after year. It has the big chunky neck and has the big frets. By 60 they had a slimmer contour neck. They still had the big frets. In 58 they had the big chunky neck, but they had smaller frets, but it was otherwise the same. Typically what happens is the cherry Sunburst would fade. They didn't know it was going to do that, but red finishes as well as blue finishes will often fade. The red dyes are influenced, deteriorate under UV light, which means if you expose it to sunlight or even have it in a storefront window, it will bleach it out. This guitar originally was a cherry Sunburst with red on the edges and yellow in the middle. And under the pick guard, it still has some red. Hard to see it, but under the guard, it's still red where the light didn't get at it. And under the rhythm position pickup in that cavity, it's still bright red where the light didn't get to it. And on the back, this still has some red. You can see where it's redder here than it is on the sides where it's completely faded out. And you can even see the back is redder than the sides where the sides got more light. It was hanging on a wall, got more light there. But this guitar has a carved maple top. Before they did Sunburst, they had maple top on the Les Paul gold top model, but it was usually a three-piece top and it didn't have a center seam. This is a book-matched top where it has a center seam and it's book-matched, so they take a piece of wood, split it, and just open it up like a book, and you have the matching grain on each side. The fact is that they're pretty. Got a Brazilian rosewood fingerboard, Kluson Deluxe tuners, and interestingly enough, you see the buttons are shriveling up and turning dark. They used a plastic which they didn't know that it would have a 40-year or so time fuse, but there it is. When I started collecting, you never saw buttons that were shrinking and shriveling and crumbling, but here they are. And you can get replica buttons. You don't have to replace the whole tuner mechanism. But these buttons, if they're used much longer, will probably break. This guitar is structurally fine. It's cosmetically good. It's a great instrument. Highly sought after, priced at $189,000. We have the 1960 version, which looks similar, but it's redder. It still is faded somewhat. Now this is still a very, very similar guitar to the 59, but the neck is not as deep. It's a shallower contour neck. It's the same width neck, but it's not as deep. But it's a great guitar in very nice shape. So this one is priced at $135,000. And as Sunburst Les Pauls go, it's a bargain at that. It may not seem like a bargain to those who don't have the money, but as Sunburst Les Pauls go, $135,000 for one that's in good shape is a bargain. These are some of the most collectible electrics in the history of solid body guitars.